Today, I'm going to be reviewing the Spider-Gwen costume from Procosplays. And to be honest, guys, I had some pretty high expectations for this one. Video, we'll be delving into the fits, the comfort, as well as the accuracy and whether or not this costume is actually worth your money. Because unfortunately, as we all know as cosplayers, just because a costume looks good online doesn't necessarily mean that it actually delivers in real life. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, hello, and welcome. My name is Star, otherwise I'm very simply known as Lady Dead Rabbit here on the internet. And here on this channel, I like to focus everything on cosplay and cosplay related topics. So that includes makeup tutorials, costume reviews, as well as breaching some of the popular topics that are happening in the community right now. So if you're new to cosplay or you're interested in possibly purchasing this costume or really any costume from this company, then stick around for this video. Talking a little bit about my own ordering experience with this company. Now, this is the first time that I'm officially buying any sort of costume from Procosplay. However, I have gotten some of their costumes in the past secondhand while thrifting, so I knew that the quality of the costume was going to be worth it. The checkout process was really easy. Finding this costume was super easy. Honestly, navigating their entire website is very, very straightforward. And they have a relatively reliable customer service team that you can email. I ordered this costume on April the 6th. The costume was shipped April the 10th, which was during the same week that I ordered the costume. I think on their website they state that typically the shipping times for costumes will vary. And seeing as how the Spider-Gwen costume is probably, I would imagine, she's a very popular character, and she's a character that they would usually keep in stock because of her popularity. And also the simplicity of the costume. I mean, it's technically a morph suit. But yeah, the costume was shipped out on April the 10th, and I got the costume in the mail today. At the time of recording this video, it is April the 18th. So it took about, I want to say, a little bit less than 2 weeks to actually get a hold of this costume. Now granted, I of course will always recommend to any of you guys that if you are attending any sort of convention and you're preparing a new cosplay, that you need to have everything ready to go at least an entire month in advance, okay? I know it's so popular for you guys to con crunch, but you gotta trust me on this. It's gonna be so much easier if you just choose a costume and you stick to it. The packaging for the costume in itself was pretty nice. It is, as you can see, in this plastic bag here to keep everything nice and tidy, but it was also in this cardboard box. Interesting enough, the shipping company that they delivered through was someplace called Uni. Now, I personally have never heard of this shipping company, but you can look it up online. They are legit. I will say tracking this order was a little bit weird. On the actual website, once the order is tracked, they will update your order status and give you a tracking number, and they'll tell you that they're shipping it through US Air Mail. But during the process of that, whenever you try to go to USPS and you try to enter the order number, it keeps coming up as if it doesn't exist. I found that I had to go through a couple different websites to do like a broad search for how to track this order until I was able to actually find out where it was exactly. But a couple days ago, once the customer did come into the US clearance, I did get an email from Uni telling me when to expect this delivery. Now, I don't know if they just rely on Uni all across the United States or if it's just specific to my location. But I think that's something that you should keep in mind, that tracking this order might be a little bit weird. Now, pulling this costume out of the bag, my first impressions were, wow, this actually looks a lot better than the photos that they posted online to advertise for it. Not that those are necessarily bad photos, but sometimes I find whenever it comes to morph suit costumes, it's really difficult to tell if they're actually a good quality or not. Because let's be honest, a lot of these Amazon morph suits are for very specific body types that most of us don't exactly have. And with the advancements of AI and the lack of restrictions that seem to be used for companies using AI, it's also very difficult to know whether something is AI generated or if that's actually how the costume will look on you. Now, I personally have gotten really good at determining whether something is AI generated or not, and thankfully Procosplay, every photo that they have posted online is not AI. So what you're looking at is more than likely what you can expect in the mail. Now, according to the websites, the material that this costume is primarily made out of is 4OD polyester, which most costumes that you're going to get from stores are going to be made out of some kind of polyester. But this is actually very, very durable. It's very soft. This is very easy to clean as well. So if you're worried about throwing this in the washing machine or in the dryer, you don't need to stress. This thing is built to last. Now, Procosplays does have two different Spider-Gwen costumes. They have one from the first movie and then they have one from the second movie. I obviously went for the second movie because I just have a preference for that character design. And also I really like the side shave and the pink in her hair, which is more accurate to what she has in the second movie rather than the first movie. And I'll throw up on screen real quick a full view of what you can expect for what this costume actually looks like. As far as I can see, they got pretty much all of the details correct. The shape of the black part versus the white part versus the pink part of the costume. The fact that the spider webbing is actually like this sort of turquoise bluish color. I really even like that they sort of designed this almost 3D looking texture into the black part of the costume. I'm not super crazy that they decided to add on the little watch that she wears to the sleeve, but I'm not going to complain too much as I haven't really been able to find a 3D file that replicates this. Initially, whenever getting this costume, I wasn't going to wear the mask, but looking at the mask itself, I'm actually really impressed with the quality of it. So in the future, I might have to get some sort of face shell to actually wear the mask. So far with this costume, I'm not seeing any major cons at all, with the exception that there is not any sort of zipper to be able to take the gloves off of. So unfortunately, if you are looking to get this costume, I would recommend that you invest in some sort of stylist pin, unless you're okay with just cutting the fingers off your costume, which I personally don't like to do. Typically, whenever it comes to clothing, I can wear anything from an extra small to a small, but I found that the smalls that they offered were almost exact to my measurements, and that still held up true to whenever I did get the costume. Now, I already went ahead and did a fit for this costume, and I think everything fits great. Everything's really comfortable. Just to do a quick comparison of what a cheap Amazon morph suit looks like versus what this morph suit looks like for this costume. Here is my female Spider-Man costume that I wear for Mary Jane. And as you can see, the gloves on the costume are so terrible. I actually ended up having to cut them off. The color and the printing design on the morph suit is just kind of weird and it doesn't really contort to my body. And I'm a pretty small, skinny person. There's also this weird sort of webbing that goes in between the armpits and the side of my body that I'm just not a fan of. But yeah, all in all, that's what typically cheap morph suits look like versus something that is a lot more higher quality, such as the one from Procosplay. And you will see that I don't have any of those problems. So this is actually a really good quality if you're looking to do Spider-Gwen for yourself. I think that the costume is really comfortable. You don't see any of the stitching. It fits me just right. And it also has a little bit of flexibility in the case that I do end up getting a little bit of weight. The printing looks great. It's going to be easy to clean and wash as well. I would say, again, the only con I'm seeing with the costume is the fact that there's no ability to take off the gloves. You have to physically take off most of this costume even to just use the bathroom, which I'm not crazy about. Yeah, I can move around in this costume just fine, which will be great for whenever I do TikTok dances or I attend conventions. It's very comfortable. I doubt that I'll get overheated in it, but if I do, then again, it's easy to wash and clean. The zipper is a little bit difficult to pull up just because of how thin and small it is and the fact that I'm going to be wearing gloves while wearing this costume. So I would say you might need some help getting in and out of this costume. The hood in itself is automatically attached to the actual costume. There's just this hole in the back that goes right over your head for whenever you put on the costume. And I really like the hood, actually. So far there's nothing with this costume that I personally would modify. I'm really also glad that they did not add the shoes as a print design with this costume. I see a lot of morph suits that will add some sort of print design of her shoes to the feet. And I just think that's a little bit weird because you're gonna be wearing shoes with this costume anyways. I mean, you're gonna have to if you want to attend any sort of convention in this con. So as far as my final review for this costume, and I'll be going over whether it's beginner friendly, convention ready, photo shoot ready, and worth the overall price. I would say it is about a 9 out of 10 for beginner friendly. I mean, it's a morph suit, so there's not really any sort of skill level or modifications that you typically need to make for it. I'm just giving it a 9 out of 10 just because of the zipper being kind of an inconvenience with it. I'm also going to give it a 9 out of 10 for convention ready, just because if you do want to wear the mask for a convention, you might want to consider getting some sort of face shield to wear under the mask to avoid that sort of lumpy face appearance with the costume. You also have to purchase your own shoes for this costume, which again is kind of a given if you wanted to attend a convention in this costume. I would give it a 10 out of 10 for photo shoot ready. Again, there's nothing for this costume that I would personally change. I'm pretty happy with it. And for my final rating on whether or not it's actually worth the price, which by the way, I paid like maybe $42 for this costume, I would say yes, absolutely. It is definitely worth the price. I know that anything over $20 might be a bit expensive in terms of morph suits for some of you guys out there, but believe me, I have gotten $20 morph suits in the past and they're not good. They are shit. So yeah, overall, I am really happy with this costume and I'm glad that I decided to go with this company for this. And let me know down in the comments section below if you have ever purchased any costumes from Procosplay and maybe some of your thoughts on that. Or if you have any other costume suggestions that you want me to do a review in the future. But that's all the time that I have for this video. Don't forget to subscribe for more cosplay and cosplay related tutorials, as well as like and comment to help this channel grow. See you around.